Okay, guys. So I had to call somebody because I don't do walls. So somebody is gonna come and get that because I don't do them. When I tell you it's one thing I don't do, and it's a little hole in the screen. And so I saw it and I just told them to come do something. Girl, another one that came up in here. That's why I'm always calling man for that because I ain't gonna be able to do it. So somebody's on their way to come get it. I'm in a whole nother room. I said, listen, I'm not even. Just come on in. But anywho, I'm still going to give this amazing live today. All praise to the Most High for allowing me to be able to hear the wings, because I knew when I heard it, there's a certain type of buzz that a wasp has too, that I was like, oh no, okay, we're done. So anywho, let me go ahead and get through this live. If I have some time, I'm going to take the questions, but anywho, I have a goal of 40,000, and we're going to be talking about today how your fear is programming your entire life and you may not even see it. So put a 1 in the comments for me to let me know that you can hear me clearly before I go ahead and get started. Okay. Yes, honey, we back with no walls. Because I already sent a text like, hey, I made a call. Please and thank you. All right. Okay, so of course you see me looking down, right? So, hi, Lovey. Okay, so most people think, and let's just get straight into it. Most people think that they are controlled by their actions, when in reality, you're not really controlled by your actions. You're actually controlled by your beliefs. Okay? You are actually controlled by your beliefs. And the most dangerous part about what I'm saying is that most of your beliefs were installed before you were even old enough to question them. Okay? So I'm going to say it again. Most people think that their life is being controlled by their actions, when in reality, it's not that. What it actually is that most people are controlled by their beliefs. And like I said, the most dangerous part of your beliefs is that they were installed before you were even old enough to even question those beliefs. Beliefs from your family, beliefs when it comes down to religion, beliefs when it comes down to authority figures, beliefs when it comes down to culture, right? So what most people tend to call their personality is actually a lot of programming. And there's a pinned video on my page where I talk about how, you being independent or you being these things are not necessarily your personality. This is the personality that was created from the programming presented to you, right? So if the program presenting to you was neglect or abandonment of some sort, or people not showing up for you, guess what you're going to do? You're naturally going to build an independent personality, right? Because you've been forced to do so. It's not because that's your necessarily your personality, but according to the program says nobody's going to show up for me, so I need to show up for myself. And I had to learn how to do that at a very young age. And you allow that to become your personality. So you lead with that. And when you lead with that, you find yourself in a space not being supported, not being elevated, not being positioned well, because people tend to forget about the person that's extremely independent. They tend to forget about the person that is so competent that they can do all of these things, right? So, like I said, most of what people are calling their personality is basically programming. They built this based off the programming. And the reason most people tend to, how can I say this? Or the reason why most people never escape the programming is because they think the problem is discipline. I need to be more sharper. I need to be more disciplined when it comes down to my finances. Well, if the program in your household has been lack, we need to deal with the issue of lack in the subconscious mind. It's not that you need to be more disciplined with your money. You have no clue how to be more disciplined with your money, which is why even though you're taking money management courses or you're having someone, create a budget for you, you have a very difficult time sticking to that. Why? Because that's not really your program. That's not your nervous system program. Your nervous system program has been in lack. So that money gets in your hand, you either holding on to it for dear life or you releasing it impulsively, right? So these are the things that we really have to start paying attention to, because discipline doesn't fix programming. And I think a lot of women get that very, very confused. It's programming that fix discipline. Y'all know I used to be a whole lot heavier, right? Y'all know I've had clients who have lost as low as 30 pounds, as high as 90 pounds. I'm not a weight loss coach, right? What I do for me to get the top results, top 3 results that I get when I work with women, which is women make more money, women get healthier, women have better relationships with the masculine, and they're able to sustain healthier relationships with the feminine, is because I help them change the program. That's how simple it is. Once you change the program, your impulsivity and your impulses start to decrease because you get a hold of your appetite, which is the biggest thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, and they don't really understand how heavy your appetite is, okay? Or what's going on with your appetite. So let's get into one of the things that I talk about all of the time, right? Believe. Thank you, my love, for these likes. And y'all remember, I got a goal of 40,000, okay? So if you're receiving value, make sure that you share value by sharing the live or liking the live. So I always talk about how belief impacts biology and biology influences the way you behave. I don't really dissect that a whole lot, but I'm going to do a bit of dissecting so you can grasp a bit more of this understanding, okay? So when I'm talking about that, and I always use the example of a pregnancy scare to show you how you can trick your brain into believing, that you're actually pregnant when you're not. So let's talk about the belief split, because there is a 2-part split of this belief that I'm always talking about, how belief impacts biology and biology influences the way you behave, okay? So there are 2 belief systems that are running your life, whether you realize it or not. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. There are 2 belief systems that are running your life, okay? External beliefs and internal beliefs, okay? Somebody put internal and external in the comments. Those are the 2 belief systems that are running your life. Internal belief and external belief. Remember that. It's really, really important for you to understand it, okay? Your external beliefs are about the world. And when I say the world, I'm speaking about the, society, the actual world, the earth, the people in the earth, everything within that space is what I'm speaking about when it comes down to external. Everything outside of yourself is the external world. Your relationship with money, your relationship with people, your view, all these things, okay? So external beliefs are about the world. So the biggest concerns or the beliefs are usually around safety, threat, and fear, okay? Safety, threat, and fear. Most people who have limited beliefs about the world is usually rooted in some form of faux safety, faux threat, right? Or faux fear, as in fake, okay? So your brain constantly asks the question, is this safe? Am I safe here? Is this, is that? And this is how so many people end up responding by playing it safe, based on perceiving that there's a threat in the world, there's a safety issue, and there's fear. I'm going to give you a perfect example of this. And I'm going to talk a little bit in code, so I hope you can catch what I'm saying the first time, because I'm not going to repeat it, okay? There's a lot of propaganda, okay, that is being put out there about other countries, about travel, about all of these things, right? I just came back from traveling from a very popular space that people are concerned with, saying, oh my God, all this is going to happen here, right? I just came back the other day. I didn't have a problem flying out of that airport. I didn't have a problem flying into the airport. There was a lot of the stuff that they're saying that's going on, okay? There are things that are being put out there so that you feel like certain things are a threat to your safety. Certain things, are things you need to be fearful of. In reality, those things are not the truth. So like I said, some people are playing it safe and responding by playing it safe based on what they're thinking is an actual threat that's out there, when in reality, that's really not happening. That's really not happening, okay? So many people are doing things by playing it safe. They're holding back. They're waiting for certainty. But here's the truth that most people, especially women, tend to never examine at all. There is no such thing as safety if there is no real threat. There is no such thing as being so concerned about your safety when there is no real threat. The way that y'all go out here and beg for relationships with men, but then out your mouth will say that you scared to be in a relationship with a man is insane. What is, okay, what is the actual threat? If you're basing this based on your previous experiences, that you are in a space where you are so fearful to be in a relationship, then you have not dealt with the parts of yourself that you need to deal with in order for you to be ready to walk into another relationship. You should not be making moves out of fear. If you are identifying yourself by your attachment style, you are not ready to be in healthy relationships with people, because what you're not understanding is your attachment style is a byproduct of your nervous system programming. The program can always change. I used to be anxious attachment style. I'm extremely secure now. Okay? That was some work that had to be done. Y'all are taking these attachment styles and these different things and these emotional experiences and certain diagnoses, and you are making them your identity. And you are wondering why your life is a continuous loop of chaos. You cannot do that. You cannot do that and want peace. You are going to consistently attract chaos. You're going to consistently be in a state of chaos. It is ridiculous. And I'm just telling you the truth. People are not going to tell you what it really is, but it's absolutely ridiculous. There is no such thing as you being concerned or having a safety issue when there is no real threat. Oh, I don't want to go get on no plane because they said, do you know that they are telling you the truth? Well, I saw it on the news. Don't we see AI fake stuff every day? I saw something early this morning, baby. They had some type of rising of the heavens, I don't know, award show, baby. Tupac was there, Aaliyah was there, and it looked real. And I grew up in the era. I grew up in the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. 80s baby, 90s kid. And I'm looking at these folks and I'm questioning, like, good grief. And Michael Jackson and all these folks in there that we know that they're gone. So if we could do that with our own fingertips, you don't believe that things can be created for you to view them a certain kind of way in order to get you to perceive something differently? Have y'all not watched the movie, what is it, The Craft? That's an old school movie with Baruza Falk and some other women, some young women that were doing stuff. And one of the young ladies performed a glamour magic on a television screen to make her believe that the other young lady, that her parents had passed away in a plane crash. So when I tell you, this society is built on a lot of illusions, because the currency of illusion is control. Never forget that. The currency of illusion is control. If I can get you to, just like a man selling you a dream, if I can get you to believe this dream, then I can control the way that you think. And if I can control the way that you think, then I can control the way that you respond. And a lot of you are playing small because you believe that there is a perceived threat that's not even there. It's not even there. And I've done it, right? There's a particular place for a long time that I was like, oh, I want to move there. I was like, oh, I would live there, but it's so expensive. But I got that from somebody in my circle. They always say, oh, yeah, it's very nice over there, but it's too expensive. And so I started to develop this belief that this place was too expensive for me to live, though I loved traveling there, though I loved going there, though I loved being in that space. I tricked myself into believing that this was too expensive for me. What is expensive to the Almighty? What is expensive to the one who created everything? If I'm in alignment, why can I not have what it is that I really want? Because I limit myself because I perceive that I have a fear that I'm not going to be able to manage or keep up or take care of this. Lies. So you play small, and that's what society is doing. Society tricks you into believing things about yourself that are not true, so that you will play small and that you will shrink and you will never come into full power. Because a collective or a community that actually comes into full power is dangerous to a 1%. They oppress you because there are things that they know that you could know, but you won't take the time to really grasp and understand. That is how they're able to continue to oppress. And the longer they can oppress you, the longer they stay in power. So you have to free yourself from the oppression because nobody's coming to save you. But I'm going to say that again, there is no such thing as safety when there is no real, or trying to play it safe or be safe when there is no real threat. And a lot of you think that there are threats out here that are actually non-existent. Many people are protecting themselves from dangers that don't even actually exist. You are protecting yourself from a danger that does not even exist. So you're not even avoiding the danger that you believe that you're avoiding. You're avoiding expression and execution. And that's why your life ain't changing. You're avoiding true expression and execution. And that is why your life is not changing. You're not avoiding danger because you don't even know if the danger that you claim is out there is even real. There are people who will not travel to other places because they believe in their mind that there's actual danger. And you don't even know if that's true. You don't even know if that's true. So you are avoiding operating at the full expression of yourself, which is really where your blessings lie, which is really where the things that you desire to manifest and sustain, that's where it lies. It lies in you being the full expression of yourself. But no, you playing it safe because you don't want your mom to be mad what you say. You don't want your family to see what you're saying online. So, you shrink yourself. You don't want people to judge you or look at you differently. So you make yourself small. Thank you, my love, for these likes. You make yourself small so that you don't express yourself. You don't execute. And you know what ends up happening? The body begins to express itself when it starts to scream. I had a conversation with a 36-year-old Black woman, young, beautiful, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I'm listening to her tell me how she works in spaces with people who don't look like her, who are consistently trying to make her appear incompetent, right? Because people who don't have your skill set, people who don't have your gifts, and sometimes people who don't have your melanin will project their incompetence and their true feelings about themselves onto you to get you to play it safe so you can play small. And do you understand with this young lady? And she hired me. She's coming into the lab, but she hired me. But do you understand that this baby told me that it stressed her so bad she started having seizures? Do you understand how much that broke my heart to hear? I'm 42 years old, and I'm looking at this beautiful, brilliant woman not see her value and play it safe because of fear of things not working. And she was making this company $35,000 a month. So you making them money. You are the value, and they see that you are the value, but they see that you don't see your value, which is why they play on that. See, most of the time with people, when you're dealing with people, you're dealing with corporations, you're dealing with men, you're dealing with anyone, right? These particular people will see your value, know your value, right? Pull from your value, but they are grateful that you don't know your value. They are grateful that you don't know yourself. They are grateful that you can't see what's going on with you. Hi, lovey. So the longer you can't see what's going on with you, the longer they get to leverage you, the longer they get to use you, the longer they get to siphon your energy until you come into the state of sickness. Until you come, she is to the point to where she can. I always ask women when they come to work with me, one of the first questions I ask you is, how are you sleeping? Because if you tell me how you sleeping, that's going to let me know how much stress you under for real. I don't need to ask you how you doing. That's a played out question. See, y'all can still lie with that. Y'all can still lie and be like, oh, I'm fine. Don't piss me off. You know what I'm like? Don't piss me off with that, with the lies. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. I'm going to ask you how you sleep, and I'm going to ask you how many hours of sleep you're getting. And if you tell me anything less than what I know you should be getting for your age bracket, I already know what time it is. Because let me introduce you to the stress cortisol loop if you didn't know. There's stress that comes to you not being able to sleep, and you not being able to sleep raises your cortisol levels, and high cortisol levels lead you to sickness. Period. So don't talk to me about what you doing and you ain't sleeping. Women don't realize you can't even lose weight if you, a lot of you are in the gym, right? As a woman who used to be a whole lot heavier, a lot of you are in the gym, right? And you're doing cardio and you're doing this and you're doing that. And you can't seem to get the weight off. You trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I'm working so hard. I'm doing this. I'm in the gym. You know, I'm eating the things I need to eat. Yada, 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 yada. Right? And now I'm not getting any of this weight off. First question, how is your sleep? Because you do realize when you are training, especially strength training, there is such a thing as rest and recovery. When do you think that you're recovering? When you're sleeping. That's why you go to bed and you may not be sore, but when you wake up, them glutes on fire from the workout that you did the day before, because your body has been in rest and recovery mode. Y'all are not resting, therefore you are not recovering, therefore you are plateauing when it comes down to your weight, because your body is holding on to stress because it believes that you need it. It believes that you need it. Okay? I'm going to support you in coming out of that, love, because nothing is worth dying for. I asked the young lady on the phone when she was telling me about her seizures, I said, is it worth dying for? With a straight face, because I don't waste no time. I don't waste no time, especially if you tell me you're a mother. Especially if you tell me you're a mother. Is it worth dying for? Don't you got a baby you say that you love so much and you would die for it? You really gonna die for it. You ain't gonna live for it though? Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. Because it's not making sense. Y'all put everything above your own life and wondering why you feel like it's a crash. Nobody shows up. Nobody does anything because you are not prioritizing yourself. Like I said, a lot of you are playing safe when there is no real threat, protecting yourself from dangers that do not exist. You don't even know they exist. You ain't even avoiding danger, baby. You are avoiding expression, full on expression, and execution. And that is why your life is not changing. Stop blaming the men. Stop blaming your mama. Stop blaming everything around you. It's time to look in the mirror. See, this is why I say we do mirror work over here. Y'all go have fun doing shadow work because you still get to sit at the bottom and glorify the healing process. When the healing process is not a it shouldn't be glorified because it's hell. If you really had to do it, thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these follows. It's hell. Oh, I know. You're talking to somebody who had not only ego deaths, but I also had a spiritual awakening. That work is hell. I don't know why y'all sit around here and try to act like, oh, it's just the healing and shadow work. That stuff is not easy. And the real work happens when you come out of the shadows because you got to let yourself be seen. And a lot of y'all not about that life. Y'all want to hide. But you can't hide when you really have done the real work, because it becomes extremely evident. You've got to stop playing small if you want your life to change. Y'all are not hiding from danger. You're hiding from fully expressing yourself because you're worried about what other people are going to think, especially your mama, your family. You're thinking about everybody but yourself. Okay? Now, let's get into the other piece of this. We talked about how there's two belief systems that are running. Y'all put a 1 in the comments. She says she can't hear me. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly, so I can make sure that is it everyone or is it one person? Because you may have to leave out and come back, my lovey. Okay. Looks like it might be just your phone, baby. Come out and come back in. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. So we talked about the two belief systems that are running your life. External beliefs, and external beliefs are about the world, usually around safety, usually internal beliefs. And your external beliefs, like I said, are about the world. Safety, threat, fear. Okay? And your brain is always asking, is it safe? Is it safe? Am I safe? And then you're playing small, playing safe when there's no real threat happening. Okay? Which is causing you to avoid not danger, but full-on expression and execution. So let's get into the second part of this, which is internal belief, because this is very important. Okay. There is also an internal belief system, and it is the internal belief system that actually influences the external beliefs. But a lot of people believe that the external beliefs is what they allow the external belief to rule their internal beliefs. So let's switch that. Okay. So with there being an internal belief system, the internal belief system is called self-worth. And the truth of the matter is, most women, and I stand on most Most women do not know their worth. Thank you, love. Most women do not know their worth because you will make statements like, you need to pay me what I'm worth. Nobody can ever pay you what you're worth, darling. They can pay you for the value you provide, but they cannot pay you for your worth. That is you putting a price tag on your ass. Okay? It's really not a way for you to be able to do that. Because truthfully, you being here is a miracle. You being here is priceless. You being able-bodied, like the experience, you are a spirit being having a human experience, and the human experience is an energetic experience. And the energetic experience is created from the internal belief system, okay? Which is self-worth. So self-worth and value are not the same. They're synonymous, but they are not the same. So the internal belief, self-worth, value, what you believe you deserve, all of those things fall into that, okay? Now, here's the thing. Here's the uncomfortable truth that a lot of women don't understand, and sometimes until it's too late. Most of your beliefs are not even your own. Most of your beliefs are not your own. Hey, lady of the house, most of your beliefs are not your own, okay? They were installed. Family programming, religious programming, and I'm going to say something and y'all not going to like what I say because everything I teach is rooted in scripture and backed up by science. I love the Lord. Don't play with it. I love the Most High. I don't do what a lot of people, I love the Most High. My relationship with the Most High is extremely real. What's not real is a lot of that tradition that was taught in the church. You were taught that you were not worthy. Okay? You were taught that you were not worthy. And you took that mindset and put yourself under a spell and start operating like you are not worthy. There is nowhere in scripture that says that you are not worthy. These people twisted this scripture up, chopped and screwed it up, took out books of the scripture that were extremely important, put it in the King James version, which that's a whole nother conversation. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and used it to control you. That's why they have a lot of slavery language in there. You know what them other books do? Let me show you. Let me show you if you ain't never seen one before, okay? This is the Ethiopian scripture. You know what's in them other books that they took out? The power of the people. It took out you knowing your identity. They took out the parts where it says you are to challenge your leaders, okay? 40,000, no, you're not too late. They took out those things because they didn't want you to challenge them and they wanted you to be a slave. That's what that is. And so they used that book. And as much as they said that they didn't want to do politics and different stuff in the church, they did all those things because they had a secret agenda. They tricked you into believing that you are not worthy when every bit of the scripture talks about how worthy you actually are. It talks about your godlike nature. It talks about your godlike character. It talks about you having dominion on this earth. Y'all grew up all this time praying a prayer saying, let your will be done as it is in heaven, right? Y'all spend this whole time. Do you understand what you were saying? Do you understand that you were asking for heaven to come on earth? Did you actually read the scripture to find out that the new heaven was going to be on earth? So you just thought you was just going. But see, that's the lie they've been telling. The lie they've been telling you is that you need to sacrifice your entire life here and then you're going to see heaven on the other side. When the truth is you're supposed to be doing your work to bring heaven here on earth. Better go read. Better go read the truth and not just what they've been telling you. They put you under a spell with this program. For real. This is the one that I have. Okay? This is the one that I have. And that's where you find out about the truth about where astrology came from. That's when you find out the truth about the fallen angels. That's when you find out the truth about low down leaders and what was done to them. Okay, so it's very, very important and very vital. It's the Ethiopian Bible, 88 books. The King James Version only has, a Bible only has 66 books. Like I said, they took out books so they could control you. And all these things you can go and look up for yourself. Go and look and see how many people were killed in the name of Christianity. All because they were doing a sliding scale on, you pay me here. If you do this sin, you pay me here, you get to get off, and all these different things. Okay? So don't even get me started. I'll send you one, boo. I'll send you the link for one. So, like I said, many of the beliefs that you have are not even your own. They were instilled in you by your family. They were instilled in you by religious programming. They were instilled in you by cultural programming. If we want to talk about cultural programming, we got a whole generation of millennial women who are stuck in the fantasy of what they feel like marriage and love is, all because Disney say butterflies mean you in love. Well, that's the biggest lie ever. That's one of the greatest curses of ever, because butterflies means that your nervous system is sending you a warning, actually. So cultural programming has us out here. And cultural programming is happening right now, too, because a lot of you believe that you're going to get out here and marry a rich man. Many of you believe that you're going to get out here and have proximity to, you're going to have these men who are going to come spend all this money on you. Men that you're not even in proximity to. Men you are not even in proximity to. And you believe that they're going to come and pluck you because the agenda in the programming culturally that's being put out there is that you need a six-figure man who could do X, Y, Z, who could do this and who could do that. They're telling you to come under this programming. Also, you'll forget the fact that you need to have your own stuff going on. You came here. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. You came here with your own gifts. You came here with your own assignment. And you're going to sacrifice your assignment to come under a man just because he got a salary? And a salary is a cap? Salaries are capped? Be for real right now. Thank you, my love. Be for real right now. Cultural programming will have you out here believing things that are not real. And that's the problem. All of those beliefs from your family programming, your religious programming, your culture. Exactly, Rick. Thank you. She sure did. Because here's because let's get into it. If we really want to talk the truth, you as somebody who's been able to create for herself, right? And create a multi-six-figure business. Let me tell you the best way to get in proximity with those type of men that you claim that you want so bad is to make your own money. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. It's to make your own money. Because when you make your own money, that positions you to be in rooms. And guess what happens? When you start making money and being in rooms with these people, you start seeing how some of these people are extremely sick. You start seeing how twisted some of these kinks are that some of these people have. See, you really start seeing you start seeing the real family dynamics of what's going on in this space. You understand? You really start seeing what's going on. So don't be thinking that you just gonna walk into this space and he's just gonna come. A lot of those men are extremely predatory. And it get real dark. Y'all claim y'all mad at Diddy. It's a lot more of them. It's a lot more of them. And they got the money, and they got the multitude of women, and they don't care. You are to get your own bag so you can deal with the people that you want to deal with. Not because you got to deal with it because you feel like you can't survive out here. That ain't it. That is not it. Exactly. The most elite women in their bag stay away far away from those kind of men and do. Exactly. Even in corporate, those higher ups are. Exactly. So the thing is, like, cultural programming will have you believing things that are not real, and you will set yourself up to become prey. Y'all better stop listening to people. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all can't take, and this is real talk, and this is not no shade, because there are SMEX workers who come to work with me, right? There are SMEX workers that come to work with me, but I'm gonna tell you straight like this: you can't use SMEX worker tactics and think and not think that they're going to be looking for SMEX worker activity. I don't think y'all understand that. Y'all got so much to say about the celebrities that are selling their souls. You selling your own soul. You putting a price tag on your ass, like I just told you. These are the things that you really have to start paying attention to. A lot of the beliefs that you have are not your own. It is family programming, religious programming, cultural programming, and all of those beliefs determine the following things I'm about to tell you. Number one, they determine the money you allow in your space. The fact that you would go, let me tell you something, and I'm saying this to anybody who works in corporate or in a professional space. For you to walk into those corporate spaces or those professional spaces and for you to not negotiate your salary is crazy as hell. For you to accept whatever they give you, it speaks to your programming. If your family said, girl, that's a good job for you to be making $75,000, you'll be so happy to make $75,000 that you'll leave $50,000 on the back table because you don't ask for nothing. But because your family programming is so limited, you will accept that $75,000 when in reality, at this point, $100,000 is on the poverty line. So you will accept less based on the programming. So again, thank you, my love, for these gifts. Your family programming, your religious programming, your cultural programming, all those beliefs determine the money you allow. Y'all block your own money. There's no such thing as a money block. Women come to me and I help them remove those ceilings. That's why they make more money. Because they under a spell and a program. Those beliefs as well in those levels of programming they also determine the relationships you tolerate. I know y'all think y'all are so much better than y'all mama and y'all grandma because you went to therapy. If that is the case, beloved, why do you keep choosing men that disrespect you? He may not knock your head between a wash and dry like he did your grandma or like this man did your mama, but you still allow yourself to be disrespected and dishonored every opportunity and you make excuses for it. So how much better than them are you actually? Maybe the curse that you were here to actually break was not wealth. Maybe it was the curse of low self-esteem. Have you ever considered that? Okay. So these are the things, thank you, my love, for these gifts that you have to think about. When you are under family, religious, and cultural programming, this determines the risk that you take. See, a lot of you too scary because other people have told you, you better not do that. You shouldn't do that. And I'm going to say something to you, and I'm going to be honest, right? So I wanted to go and move somewhere. My mom was like, oh, I don't know about that, da-da-da-da. My mother wasn't being negative. My mother supports whatever decision I make because she know if I'm saying I'm going to do something, I've thought about it and I'm going to do it, right? She's only speaking from her limited programming and perception. Her perception says that's too expensive. Her perception says, you know what I'm saying, it's too much going on to live in that specific area. Her perception says, could you live out there by yourself with no family directly? Her perception says that. My perception says that everywhere I go, I'm met with fruit. Because I sow value, I reap value. That's the scripture. That's my perception. See, everywhere I go, the Most High is keeping me and covering me. So it doesn't matter if nobody can get to me right then and there. The Most High is always with me. That is my perception. I'm not offended. I'm not offended by her concern. I'm not offended that the fact that she's saying she doesn't think this is I'm not offended. I don't look at her like she being negative. She's only speaking from her limited perception. And that is her truth. Y'all got to stop y'all get so mad at the elderly or those who came before you for speaking from their perception. They're not even trying to judge you. If they can't see past their level, you got to understand they can't see past their level. Don't take it personal. One of the 4 agreements, do not take it personal. This not about you. These people are looking at these things from a different perspective. Exactly. It's coming from love. My mama think about her oldest daughter, still her baby girl. You know what I'm saying? Gonna be out in a space by herself. That's how she's thinking. She not wrong. She's not wrong. My mom, look, listen, paying attention to mothers and their concern and that level of anxiety that they have for their children, no matter what age, is kind of one of the reasons why I don't want no babies. Because I understand like that never goes away. That never goes away. No matter how old you get, they always going to be concerned. They're always going to be worried, but they're always speaking from their perception. And you can't get mad at their perception because it's built on their programming. And the generation that my mother grew up in she's a baby boomer. My mother is not a slavery, supposedly, keyword heavy on the supposedly, ended maybe when she was like 4 or 5 years old. My mother had to walk through fields and a man turning his chemicals on while they trying to go to school, and he see them doing. She's not that far removed from that. So her reality has been different from my own. But I don't judge her for that. I hear her. Right? This is why I tell y'all that it's important to study the psychological and generational history of the women that came before you, so you stop judging them and you just start to see how they see things from their perspective. You no need for you to get offended. Y'all let these people get y'all in y'all chest too much, calling them toxic, labeling them. These people are speaking from their perspective. If it get too heavy, baby, put a boundary in it. If you can't handle it, put a boundary in it. I understand. Put a boundary in it and come back to it and talk about respect. But they're not trying to offend you. They just see things from their programming, just like you seeing it from yours. So if you've been in a space with the family program, which we all have, cultural program, religious programming, the money you allow, the relationships you tolerate, the risks you take, the opportunities you pursue are all determined by those beliefs. So if you don't change the program, you're going to live a limited life. Period. You're going to live a limited life. Two women can have the same intelligence, the same opportunities, the same resources, and build completely different lives. You need to understand this. He said, right, it's good to have dialogue with them. We see the world exactly with different, exactly, without judgment. I will never know, let me tell you something. I will never know my mother's struggle of raising 3 children. I would never know my mother's struggle of having me at 22 years old. Because when I was 22, hell no to some kids, okay? I'm 42 and I'm like, no. So I can only imagine she literally was growing up with me, right? She was growing up with me. I don't have no judgment for her. The choices and decisions you made were based on her perception and her perspective. I don't get to knock her for that. I don't have to agree. This doesn't mean I allow disrespect, but it is what it is. It is what it is. It's just two different things, okay? So again, two women can have the same intelligence, same opportunities, same resources, and build completely different lives because one is operating from fear programming and the other is operating from self-worth programming. The scenario I just explained to you with my mother is thinking about it from a state of fear. It's not nothing wrong with that. She's a mother. She's worried about me. I get that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I am operating from a self-worth perspective and programming. See, I see what can be. I see what will be because I know the Most High is not going to drop me and I'm not going to let myself down. So I see things differently. So I'm about to flip it and reverse it and make it into something. And one thing my mother always says about me, she always says, she was like, I don't know what she do like that. I don't know how she do it. But one thing I know about her is if she says she gonna do something, she gonna make it happen. And it's gonna work out well for her. That's what she knows. So I'm not offended. And y'all gotta stop being so offended because somebody is operating from a fear-based program. When they haven't changed the program, this is gonna be their reality. And y'all are expecting them to change and have these expectations of them as they age. If they don't change the program, the 75-year-old gonna be the same 35-year-old who was raising you. If the program doesn't change. And this is why I say change, change is inevitable, but growth is optional. It's a choice. Not everybody is grown. There's a lot of adults out here, but not everybody is grown. Big difference, okay? So again, like I said, two women can be same intelligence, same opportunities, same resources, but build completely different lives. Because if you operate from fear versus self-worth programming, your life is going to be very, very limited. So let's talk about the cost of this fear. Because like I said, today's live is talking about how fear has been ruling your entire life and you don't even see it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the cost of fear, okay? Fear creates overprotection. I grew up with a very strict and overprotective mother. Okay? I grew up with a very strict and overprotective mother, right? Overprotection, fear, and it was coming from a state of fear. So hear me. If you're an overprotective parent, hear me. Fear creates overprotection. Overprotection creates overcoddling. Y'all want to know how these mamas and these sons, you want to know how that dynamic keep going like that? It starts with the fear. I don't want you to turn out like your daddy. I don't want you to get killed in the street by the police. I don't want this to happen. So I am going to overprotect you based on my fear. And in me overprotecting you, I'm going to overcoddle you. And once I overcoddle you, because overcoddling creates limited execution. You want to know why the son ain't doing a lot? You want to know why the sisters are doing everything in the family and not the sons? Take it back to the fear of the mother involved. You understand? Because it is that fear. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. It is that fear that creates overprotection. And this is not just sons, because parents do this to their children all the time. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Fear creates overprotection. Overprotection creates overcoddling. Overcoddling creates limited execution. My uncle's still living with you know how I go? My uncle's still living with my grandma. He just can't seem to get his life together. Overcoddling equals limited execution. Overcoddling comes from overprotection. Overprotection comes from fear. When overcoddling becomes and goes to the state where it creates limited execution, this means, or let me say this, all of this is coming from that fear. And the person who is afraid, the person who is operating from this energy, the parent, right? They believe that what they're doing is actually being very careful. They believe that they are protecting their children. When you are raising a girl and you are extremely strict and overprotective of her, this is how when she goes to college, she does not have control over herself. She has the wildest freshman year or freshman semester of her life because she is not used to anything, because she has been shielded and protected from the world. And it is in that first year that she is going to get a hard rock to the face by finding out how the world actually operates. So a lot of parents, because they are so fearful, are setting their children up to not know how to handle life when they are finally exposed to life. They either have limited execution or they are just come out and they just out until they crash. Okay? The person, like I said, who's operating from this energy, or the parent who's operating from this energy, really believes that they're being extremely careful with their baby. They mean well. See, this was I don't get mad at my mama for being strict growing up. Like I don't have any children, but I can see her. My mother grew up in poverty. My mother grew up it's certain stuff she just wasn't having, right? She wasn't having that for her kids. So she said rules. She was straight up, strict with it. She wouldn't even allow family members to come around if they didn't know how to do right. She didn't play that. And I ain't mad at her for that because I understand. But a lot of that was rooted in fear. And when you operate from that fear, thinking that you're being careful, you're actually limiting the expression of that child, or even the expression of yourself. Because let's take this back. If you so afraid that you overprotect yourself and you overcoddle to the point to where you don't execute, you think you're being careful, but you are limiting your expression. And let me tell you something, you can't have the life you want without fully operating in the full expression of yourself, because the full expression of yourself is the only one who can sustain that. Who can sustain that? No, and I'm gonna use a perfect example because she on here, lady of the house. I love, when I tell you love, watching when you go to stores and you are doing your voiceovers, because or even coming onto your lives, because I can feel you being the full expression of yourself every single time. I don't care if you're trying to teach something to the women in your community. I don't care if you're talking about how crazy your time was at Dillard's. I don't care if you complain about how the food is. You're being so much of yourself the full expression of yourself, that people are so magnetically drawn to you because you are honoring yourself, which is how I know you're going to be able to sustain, right? I know you're going to be able to sustain what you're building because you're operating from the fullness of yourself. That's why I'm so glad you got emotional foundations, because you're going to be able to manage, and I'm back too, so we can get together. You're going to be able to manage whatever it is that you are building because you are operating from the fullness of yourself. It tells you in scripture that you cannot manifest anything or sustain anything with evil intention. For you to be fake, for a person to be fake, or for a person to shrink or to play safe or be small, it is an evil intent because you're not being yourself. It's like applying for a job that you know you're not qualified for. You're not being yourself, and then when you get in there and they find out and they let you go, then you want to be mad. You can't sustain anything by being fake. This is spiritual law. So the thing is, when you are operating from the energy of fear, you limit your own expression, which puts limits and caps on your life. And here's the truth that most women tend to avoid, okay? Because I'm going to tell you the truth. Your fear becomes a cell. Your fear becomes the bars on your cell, okay? And let me tell you something. A cell is where your creativity dies. See, this is why when y'all go into corporate and y'all so scared to, or professional environments, jobs, because you need a job, because you're so scared to leave, you so fearful, the fears you have about leaving that job become your bars to your cell. And while you are building that cell with those fears, guess what happened? You know what happens in a cell? That's a place where creativity dies. And that's why a lot of y'all go over there and be like, oh, I'm not creative. I couldn't be in entrepreneurship. I can't do this. I'm not creative. That's because you placed yourself in a cell. Your fear becomes the bars on your cell. That cell becomes a place where your creativity dies. And it also is the place where slaves are created. The corporate system is full of slaves. Get into it. They know what they're doing. This is all by design. I'm going to say it again. Your fear becomes a cell, a place where creativity dies. And that is also a place where slaves are created. Not slaves to other people, but slaves to your own programming. Slaves to your own beliefs. Do you understand that society's agenda, with the glamour magic that they're using and with the psychological spell work, do you understand that their entire goal is to make you a slave, to get you to not know yourself spiritually so that you exhaust yourself by overthinking mentally and become so impulsive emotionally that you act out physically, and that you eventually become a slave because you have to be behind closed doors, behind bars, because you can't control yourself. See, their goal is for you to stay in a state of slavery. But you don't realize that you create that space for you to be a slave when you are ruled by your fears. When you are ruled by your fears. It's in my TikTok shop, boo. It's in my TikTok shop. So you're not a slave to other people. You're a slave to your own programming. Okay? Now, I want to talk about one of my favorite games, because I'm going to weave this in here because it aligns, okay? This is where most people tend to misunderstand life, right? Tall buildings instead of plantations. Correct. Don't even get me started. This is where most people tend to misunderstand life. They think that life is a series of random events. There's nothing in this world, in this life, that is random. Nothing, okay? Life is much closer to a game of chess. This is why I always tell women, you should know how to play chess as a woman. If you don't know how to play chess as a woman, you losing. I already know you losing. I already know you losing because you don't know how to play the game, and life is a game. I don't want to play the game, dating. I don't want to play the game. I just want to do this. Nobody cares what you want. You know that. Nobody cares what you want but you. And if you don't want it enough to get active in the field, then you're to drown. Life is much closer to a game of chess. Every move creates the next set of possibilities. Every hesitation changes the board. Okay? Every fear-based decision shrinks your position as the queen. And the queen is the most powerful piece on the chessboard, if you didn't know. Okay? And here's the part that nobody really wants to hear. In chess, if you play small, you lose. Not eventually, but in a very predictable way, to be honest, because the player who controls the board always wins. Never forget that. And fear never controls the board. Never. Okay? Fear reacts. Fear retreats. Fear waits. Strategy, though? Strategy moves first. Excuse me. Thank you for these follows and these likes. Oh, we almost at our goal of 40,000. Thank y'all. We at 30. Yeah, 30. Fear reacts. Fear retreats. Fear waits. Strategy moves first. Okay? Thank you, Lovey. This is why two people can, again, start with the same opportunities, but one person slowly expands their position while the other person keeps defending a territory that was never under attack. Have y'all ever, this is probably going to slice some people. Have y'all ever worked under a Black woman in middle management? Because let's have that conversation real quick. Because it's a very uncomfortable position to be in. I'm going to talk about it from both ends. I'm going to talk about how mean they are, but I'm also going to speak about the position and their reality of what they thought was going to happen. Okay? So when we're talking about people who like to defend territory that was never under attack, a lot of times it's Black women in middle management because they're concerned about you taking their position. Because their position, they're kind of stuck. See, the messed up part about being in middle management is, oh, this is about to sound mean, but I don't know no other way to tell you. When you are a Black woman in middle management, they position you there for a reason. And they almost position you there as an overseer. Oh, this is about to sound mean, but it's just real. They position you there as an overseer. You know why? Because they're never going to move you up. They're never going to move you above that middle management. They're going to keep you right there in that space. And with them keeping you right there in that space, thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. You hate being in that space because you're forced to be an overseer when you really thought you were going to be elevating up. So when you get a young sister that comes in there that's wise, or you get a young sister that comes in there that's sharp, or you get a young sister that comes in there that knows her business, you start defending a territory that nobody ever even wanted, because who want to be in the middle? Hell, I don't even want to sit in the middle seat in the back. You think I want to sit in the middle position? That's not a comfortable position for them because they thought that they were going to be able to elevate because they were lied to too. Hi, Lovey. They were lied to too. And because of that, they are like a slave. They are like a pile driver on everybody that comes into that space because they're sitting in the middle. So they're trying to defend the territory. Let me get this thing, y'all, so I can make sure this phone don't die. They're trying to defend the territory they think you're trying to take. And baby, I don't even want that because I see what they're doing to you. I see what they're doing to you, darling. I don't want that. Girl, I had a problem every time. And it was always somebody I thought, that was older that I thought should have been prepping me, baby. They was worried about me taking was older that I thought should have been prepping me, baby. They was worried about me taking this spot. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this with you. They're bitter and they're upset because they thought that they were going to get something else that they actually weren't getting. And so they're protecting a territory that honestly was never under attack because we don't even want that. We don't even want it. Hell, you don't want it. You don't want it. So again, this is why two people can start at the same opportunity. One person will slowly expand in their position to the next level, while others try to keep defending a territory that was never under attack. One is playing to win. See, I'm always playing to win. I don't care what job. I was always playing to win. Even when it was hating on me, I was playing to win. And I told y'all about the time I played to win to the end. I went out. My best friend died. My doctor took me off work because I was very depressed about that. When I came back, they were trying to set me up to get me fired because they found out that I was doing makeup on the side, which was not against FMLA policy. And they tried to do an illegal thing to try to say that I was doing something wrong. But because I am my mother's daughter, I document everything, and I record conversations, because in the state of Tennessee, when I was working at the time, that you can record a conversation and it could be one-sided as long as one person is consenting, and I was the consenting party. They got them caught up when they was trying to lie and act like they was trying to get me fired. And then all of a sudden, when I presented this, everything went away. But see, I only came back because I was only going to use them for 6 months and get all my time so I could move to another state on them. So when I tell you I was playing to win, I was playing to win. So when all my time went out and ran out, I was already in a whole nother state. And they said, if you don't return, we're going to have to fire you. And I said, you don't have to fire me because I quit. And I had just started my business. So when I tell you play to win, play to win. Complaining is not how you're going to win. Them people don't care about you. Leverage what they give you. If they're going to give you something to where you can go get something and get better, or they're going to pay out, leverage them because they are using you. So again, one is playing to win. The other one is playing not to lose. See, they was playing a game to not lose with me. I was playing to win, and I won. Okay, thank you, my love, for these gifts. And those are two totally different strategies. Playing so you don't lose and playing to win is not the same thing. Two totally different mindsets. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Most people think life is about effort. Life rewards positioning. This is why this is chess. This is why, as a woman, you should know chess. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. This is why you should know chess. Because again, one person is always playing to win. Another person is playing to not lose. Two completely different strategies. One person, most people think it's about effort. It's not about effort. Life rewards positioning all day long. Exactly. Proactive versus reactive. So let's get into the aspects of reprogramming in that sequence and what that actually looks like, okay? So breaking programming does not happen through motivation. I want y'all to cancel that if you believe that. Breaking programming does not happen through motivation. It happens through decision, okay? Decision is the moment you stop obeying the current script. If the current script for your reality has been, in order for you to have love, you must struggle. In order for you to have money, you must struggle. Making a decision to say, I'm not struggling for money and I'm not struggling for love, is literally you taking the time to stop obeying the script that you've been taught all of your life. Once that decision happens, a sequence begins. Okay? And this is very important, so I want you to pay attention, okay? Once you make that decision, a sequence begins. Your faith elevates, which is your belief, begins to elevate. Once your belief begins to elevate, you activate your inner gifts. Once you activate your inner gifts, then you learn how to amplify your skills. Once you amplify your skills, and then you take action. And you know what happens when that sequence happens? You know what the result is? Confidence appears. What do you need to be able to execute consistently and do the things that you need to do and step out boldly? You need confidence. But confidence is not going to come unless you stop obeying the script. Unless you start making a decision that you're no longer going to obey this script, nothing is going to shift for you. Because if you don't make that decision, you can't elevate your faith, you can't activate your gifts, you can't amplify your skills, you can't take action. Therefore, you have no confidence. That means you sit in the same spot. Once confidence appears, once you've done all of these things, you realize that confidence doesn't come first. This is why you can't affirm your way into confidence. You cannot do affirmations to build confidence. If nobody gonna tell you the truth, I'm gonna tell you the 100% truth. Affirmations are not building your confidence. Your confidence gets built when your belief elevates. When your gifts are activated, it happens when you amplify your skills and you take action. Because the only way you're going to become more confident, I'm going to give you a perfect example. If you've ever wanted to go on a solo trip and solo travel, right? As a person who was a digital nomad for 2 years straight, when you take your first solo trip and you execute it the way you want to execute it, that's going to build your confidence for you to be able to do what? Take another one. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. What is that going to do? Challenge you to start taking one maybe out of the country. Because your confidence is being built because why? You've elevated your faith. Okay? It is, speak on it. It is earned. Confidence is earned. It's not something that, oh, you're just given. You cannot say affirmations and become a confident woman. This is why when you tell yourself you're so beautiful and you look in the mirror and you still feel like you're not beautiful, because that does not work. What does it take for you to feel confident? What do you need to do for yourself? How do you need to take action? You know what made me confident? More confident? When I got all that weight off me. Not because it made me look different, but it showed me what I could do. It showed me what I could do. When I lost my first 20 pounds, I said, okay, bet. If I could lose 20, I could lose 40. See, the confidence already been. Then once I lost 40, I said, oh, hey, okay, I lost 40. I could lose 60. Then tomorrow I lost 60, then 80. Just, the more you do this, the more confident you become. And confidence is not something that is just going to be like, oh, yeah, here. No, you're going to have to do the work. Because let me tell you how and why this is so important. When you do that work, can't nobody tell you nothing. When I mean can't nobody say nothing to you, I mean can't nobody say nothing to you because they wasn't with you shooting in the gym. They wasn't with you. They don't know what you went through. They don't know your innermost. They don't know how much work you've done. You don't even get offended about people trying to speak on you because they don't know nothing. They know nothing. And you realize that. And you don't even get offended by people in their limited perception because they know nothing. When you do this work, can't nobody tell you. It's the equip. If you know you a good mama, if you know you an excellent mother, if you know you doing everything that you need to be doing, can't nobody come to you and tell you a bad mama. You might laugh in their face. You ain't even finna get offended. How you letting a fool tell you about how you do motherhood? And this is something you do every day. They ain't with you. They don't know. Stop letting people with limited perception have so much power over you. That's insane. You make them your God when they get to move you with their words. Do you understand that? Nobody should be able to say something to you that moves you and shifts your whole aura. And that is your God. Their voice is too loud in your head if they get to move and shake you like that. Period. Son, when I tried to, let me see, just like, now I teach people better. It is. It is. You have to. Confidence is something that you build. It is something that you build. I know it's been a lie, but confidence don't come first. It don't come first, baby. Belief come first. Elevating your beliefs come first. Activating your gifts come after that. Amplifying your skills come after that. Taking the proper action comes after that. And guess what happened? Confidence is built through results. And the formula for results is this: action plus belief. Confidence is built through results. And the formula for results is belief plus action. That is what's going to give you results. Consistent action and consistent belief. Okay? Yes, come on, 40K. Thank y'all so much for letting me hit my goal. So like I said, confidence is built through results. Okay? Consistent belief, consistent action. So let's talk about this for a second. So here's the moment where the most intelligent people, or here's the moment that the most intelligent people tend to experience quite a bit, okay? It's in the moment where they realize that something is uncomfortable. They already know what they should do. They already know the right move. They already know the next step, but they still don't do it. This happens a lot with a lot of educated women who want to come and work with me. And I'm an educated woman. Right? Bachelor's, master's. I had some PhD work. I told y'all I quit my PhD program a year before it was time for me to graduate because I was in my ego trying to get it. So I understand the plight of the educated woman. I understand how you will come and sit on session or attempt to sit on sessions with me and tell me about all the books you've read, and tell me about all the things you signed up for, and tell me about all the education you have, and tell me about all the therapy jargon that you've been given, right? You like to tell me all of that, but then when I ask you about your sleeping pattern, we want to look clueless. We don't have no real answers for that. When I ask you why you can't sleep, you can't articulate that, because that requires you to be a level of vulnerable that you're not used to being, because you're so used to being fake. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. You're so used to being fake and acting like you having it all together at work. You're used to being so fake by acting like you have it all together with your family. You're used to being so fake. But when I ask you how you sleeping, you can't really explain it, but you can tell me what you've done. Girl, don't come over here trying to tell me nothing about nothing you've done, because if you've done all that, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. I don't care nothing about, because I also know how to intellectualize my feelings. I know how to intellectualize an experience and make it seem like, oh, it's not that. Oh yeah, I know how to do that too, baby. Play them games with somebody else, not me though. Come to me when you're ready to really face yourself and do the real work. Because that education, them degrees, and them self-help books and all them conferences you went to still ain't changing your behavior. Now what? Now what? You still living in hell. Now what? So find somebody else. You still a slave because you've allowed your fears to hold you in a space where creativity dies and where you become a slave. So please with your education, and please with your intelligence and your intellectualism, please. I'm not interested. Okay? I'm not interested. So again, it's a very uncomfortable moment when they realize that they should be doing something. They know the right move. They already know the next step, but they still are not doing it. And that realization, it creates a very specific question for these women that I don't think they understand, or they tend to ask. If I know what to do, why do I keep repeating the same patterns? Ding, 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 ding. If I know what to do, then why do I keep repeating the same patterns? Well, I'm going to help you. And the answer is going to be quite uncomfortable. Okay? Because intelligence was never, or let me say this, the problem was never intelligence at all. We know you're intelligent. We know you're smart. We know these things. The problem was never information. The problem has always been your programming. And that is something you have not touched because you don't know how to touch it. And it's okay to say you don't know how to touch it. It's okay to say that you don't know how to touch it. But once someone sees that clearly, you can't go back to pretending that motivation is your problem, because motivation was never your problem. It was always your programming. The programming, religious programming, the cultural programming, the family programming. It's always been your programming. You choosing the type of men, programming. You choosing or blocking your own money, programming. You being limited on your experiences, programming. Programming. This is exactly why I created the Pattern Interruption Lab, because awareness does not change your patterns, sweetheart. Patterns change through interruption. And your nervous system runs behavior automatically. That's why you keep doing the same thing. That's why you keep going back to this thing over and over again, even though you know you shouldn't, because your nervous system runs behavior automatically. And if you knew how to change that, it would be changed already. And I know y'all like to get online and talk about nervous system. Stop talking about stuff y'all don't know and you don't understand. Get an understanding of yourself so you can correct the problem instead of trying to sound smart amongst your friends. Girl, I just be around and my nervous system be so calm. Name the two nervous systems right now. Quick, hurry up. Oh, you can't? Stop running your mouth on something you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know yourself. Stop running your mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop allowing this programming on TikTok to have y'all mixed up. Because be for real. Oh, I just need my nervous system to be regulated. Which one? We talking about the parasympathetic. Which one? Which part of your nervous system we talking about? Oh, you don't know? Let's stop talking. Okay? Thank you to the ones who put it in the comments. Let's stop talking. For real. Because we're doing a whole lot of lying. Your nervous system runs your behavior automatically, baby. Which means, okay, you can understand exactly what is happening in this experience and still repeat the same behavior. This is how women with PhDs get played with men with GEDs. Stop playing with me. Y'all want to know how? That's how. That's how. Because you ain't changed the programming. And y'all be saying it all the time. Man, you could take the girl out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the girl. You can take the girl from the programming central station, but you don't always take the program out of the girl. Better do that work. Your nervous system automatically runs behavior, which means that you can understand exactly what is happening and still repeat the same behavior. This is why the Pattern Interruption Lab is a 4-week environment where we identify the patterns that are running your behavior, and then we interrupt them in real time. I have a 0 venting policy in my community. I have a 0 venting policy in my community. I have a 0 venting policy in my community. Why? Because you don't get to narrate your story over here over and over again and put yourself and keep yourself under a spell. Do that in therapy. Because that's what y'all doing over there anyway. Narrating the story over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, where we are not interrupting the process. And that's the problem. So, like I said, because we don't have a venting policy, we have a 0 venting policy in that particular community. We are simply identifying the patterns that are running your behavior and running your life, interrupting them in real time. This is not therapy. This is behavioral correction. See, this is correcting the behavior that the nervous system automatically just starts going into. So the spots or the spots that I have had for the Pattern Interruption Lab, it was 8 spots. I now have 4 left. We start on March 19th, okay? Pattern interruption, only reason I allow 8 women in that space. She said, I can't wait for round 2. Yes, I got a couple of women who are in the lab that are in the live chat right now. Sean is one of them. You see the Phoenix Rising Lifestyle. She went through the first round. We're going into the second round on the 19th. It's going to be amazing. She came back for another 8 weeks. You can come in at 4 weeks or you can come in at 12 weeks. But you only really can come in at 4 weeks because I need to see you doing that work in 4 weeks. I'm not letting you sit around with me for 12 weeks. I don't play that. Because here's the reality. There are some people who do this work, who are in coaching, who do other things, and they want you to just keep staying with them, staying with them, staying with them. Let me tell you something, baby. I want you to do your time with me, and I want you to get out there and put those things to work. And should you need me again down the line, come back and see me. But the things I give you, you can keep and hold those things for life. I don't think when I tell y'all and I say things like, I am building things that are going to outlive me, I'm telling you what it is. I'm going to leave this earth when my assignment is up and just know I've given everything I'm supposed to give. But the things that I'm creating are going to outlive me. What I am teaching you, and these are 2 women right here that said for life, woo, she ain't lying. What I teach you will carry you in this life, and you can do life very well if you are ready and you are open, okay? And you won't need me. I don't want you to need me. You need to need your creator. I don't need you to need me. I don't need you to always be looking for me. I need you to get what you're supposed to get from me and go on into your own greatness. And should you need me again, yes, come back and see me. But I don't need you sticking with me. That's not what this is, okay? So that's why it's 4 weeks. And then if you need to come back for your 8 weeks to strengthen that, we can absolutely do that. But in that 4 weeks time, we're going to be interrupting those patterns right then and there in your face. So I only allow 8 women in that space as a total because pattern correction deserves and it requires observation, not mass coaching. I'm not here for the money. Like the money gonna come to me anyway because I saw value. So there's never an issue. But I'm not here, oh, let me get 20 women in this program. No, baby, it's 8 of y'all. It's 8 of y'all so you can get the quality work. It's 8 of y'all so I can see the results that you're going to get. It's 8 of y'all so I can give you my undivided attention the way you deserve because you are investing in that. Okay? So I don't do a whole bunch of math. It's very tight to come in and work with me. You got to be serious. The way that I run the lab is like this. We meet every Thursday, okay? For those 4 weeks, you have a 12 o'clock session and you have a 6 p.m. session. A lot of the women who live internationally come during the 12 p.m. session, Central Standard Time. During that time frame, we're having 75 minutes of that experience where we're doing the interruption and the correction and those things in that space. You can come, you are welcome to come to the 6 p.m. if you like, but we're not gonna, if you sign up for the 12 noon slot, you can come to the 6 p.m. slot to watch and observe your community, just like the people in the 6 p.m. can come to the 12. But I won't be interrupting your patterns in that space to keep things in order. So the women come in with their slots. We do the work. You have community. We have our own Telegram group. The minute you get activated in your pattern, you get to text me right then and there in the group, and I'm going to respond to you right there immediately and give you the support that you need. That is what my clients invest in. That is what my clients pay for. And that's why my clients get the results that they get, because I am very hands-on. I am very thorough. I am very structured. And I don't play about my clients getting their results, because I need your life to be changed. Because guess what? This world is consistently changing. And I want you to thrive in this world, not just be surviving. Okay. So if you're interested in the Pattern Interruption Lab, you can click the link in the bio to find out more information about it. It is $888. Yes, you can get a recliner, affirm, and afterpay. Yes, there are 4 slots that are already gone. There are only 4 slots left. So if you want in, we start on the 19th. You would come and make your payment. I'm going to send you your contract. I'm going to send you your pre-work. I'm going to send you your information that you need so we can be started for the 19th. Okay. Now, if you're listening and you're thinking, okay, I need to see my patterns first, I'm not necessarily ready for the Pattern Interruption Lab, then this is exactly why you can click the link in the bio to schedule a one-on-one session with me called a structural pattern audit session. Okay. Those are $197. You can get a recliner, affirm, and afterpay as well. During this session, I'm going to map the pattern running your behavior. I'm going to identify the interruption point. So you have 2 options after that. You can start with the audit, or you can come into the lab. And I'm going to tell you this before I start taking a few questions, okay? Most people spend their entire life trying to improve their results. Very few people correct the pattern producing them. And that's the difference that changes everything. That separates the girls from the women. That separates the girls from the women. There are a lot of women who want to improve their life. There are very few women who are going to correct the pattern that's producing the life that they consistently keep experiencing. If you want to correct the pattern so that you stop producing these results in your life, come and see me with either a structural pattern structural pattern session, structural pattern audit session, or come into the Pattern Interruption Lab, okay? So what questions do you guys have for me, if any? I hope that you've grasped this content by understanding, like, a lot of you have been allowing your life to be ruled by fear, and you may not have been able to see it. If you were still stuck in the programming of religious programming, cultural programming, family programming, I beseech you to, like, free yourself from that dynamic. Because when you submit to the programming of something else other than yourself, other than the creator of all things, you whether you realize it or not, but you position yourself to become a slave, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and till you act out physically, and then they actually can make you a slave by locking you up. So these are the things that we need to think about and really consider. A lot of you are playing it safe, trying to, I'm trying to make sure I'm doing the right thing. You're not doing the right thing by holding yourself back. You're not doing the right thing by not executing. You are limiting your life. And I'm telling you right now, the creator who created you is not pleased with you limiting your life like that. Imagine getting upstairs and the film roll back from your life, and you be like, well, this is the life I was trying to give you, but you just wouldn't step out there. This is the life I had for you, but you just wouldn't step out there. I ain't doing it. I'm gonna have the life that I'm supposed to have. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna have the life that I'm supposed to have. So what do you do when family disrespects you because of this decision? That's fine. So 1, disrespect automatically, for me, boundaries and distance is the first element right then and there. You disrespect me, we're gonna have distance, and then I'm setting a boundary. Now, if you choose to violate that boundary again, I'm going to reward you with distance and no access. What people have to realize is, more than anything, most people want access to you. Even family. Most people want access to you. They want access, they want access, they want access, they want access, they want access. Men do not get mad a lot of times about you leaving them alone. It's that they don't have access to you anymore. It's the same thing with people. People desire access. If people don't know how to treat you when they have access to you, they don't get access to you. It's real simple. I love my family down. My family know I got boundaries though, and I don't play. I love my family down, but my family knows that I have boundaries and I do not play. I don't do disrespect. What I say I'm going to do, that's what I'm doing. You ain't finna talk me out of it. If I didn't come to you to ask you to help me work through this, I'm not looking for your opinion to try to demean what I have going on just because you don't believe XYZ. I don't play like that. So you have to be okay with distance and cutting access for a minute until there is understanding. And that's something that's very, very important and very vital. So whatever decisions you make, if people, and I always tell people, yes, even your mother, I love my mama down. I'm going to tell you something. So, of course, a lot of us were raised in church, and it tells you, honor your parents, for your days to be long, obey your parents, all these things. One of the verses in Ephesians, I want to say it's Ephesians 6:4, that says, parents, do not provoke your children to the point that they want nothing to do with you. Don't provoke them to the point to where they get exacerbated, I believe is what it said. And it's speaking about how you can push your children to the point to where they want nothing to do with you. Don't do that. Parents are held to a standard as well. Okay? And so, especially if you have a parent who says that they are living the Bible, because a lot of people say that they live, they're this and they're that. Especially if they say that they're living that, that's a great reminder. Parents, don't provoke your children. Just because I'm your child does not mean that I am a child. And it does not mean that it warrants disrespect from you because I am your child. Not even for a decision. Like me making the decision that I'm making. My mama don't have to like the decision I'm making. She gonna respect my decision because she respects me. And I ultimately know what is going to work best for me. Because nobody knows me like me. And nobody knows my innermost except for the one that created me. I was formed in my mother's womb. My mother had to get to know me as an adult. And that's a whole nother journey within itself. Parents go through mourning periods from children, from them being babies to going to toddlers to going to, children, child age to going to teenagers to going to, those are grieving, periods for them that a lot of times they don't think about until they get in those experiences. And so she's having to, get to know you as an adult, and a part of that is you setting your boundaries. A part of that is you setting the tone for who you are in this season. So it's very important and very vital. So yes, even your mom, everybody can get these boundaries. God said that. So once I found that out, I said, oh yeah, let me go ahead and let me get y'all straight. Let me set everything straight. Any other questions? Click the link in the bio, like I said, to schedule your structural session. I don't have a lot of those left. Okay? So make sure you click the link in the bio to get access to that. Those are $197 if you're trying to figure out what the structure is that's running your life. The young lady that I just had a call with, she scheduled a structural pattern session. That's when we realized that she's going through cycles of burnout and her realizing that she wants to come into the lab. So she signed up to come into the lab. So sometimes if you come in and the lab is a good fit for you based on what you have going on, then you'll be coming into the lab. Okay? All right. Any other questions? Any other comments? Any other anything before I go get this person so they can kill these wasps? Because I know it's in there having a field day, baby. Any other questions? Okay. If not, y'all make sure y'all click the link in the bio to be able to get access. Thank you, Lovey. To get access to any of the products or services that I offer. Oh, make sure y'all click the link in the bio to take the diagnostic. Did y'all take the diagnostic that teaches you what you attract? Let me tell you what's on there. Where am I thinking? I just said, okay. The 15th. The Substack is going to be for the Structural Elevation Society. Is dropping on the 15th. So I think that's what, Sunday? So yeah. And I'm going to send you the link that day. Because you're the first person I got in my mind. What am I looking for? Click the link in the bio to take the diagnostic. So the diagnostic is 18 questions. You're so welcome. It's 18 questions where I'm helping you uncover the hidden structures that's shaping your relationships, your decisions, your results, and your money. Okay. So your results are going to reveal your attraction pattern, your emotional regulation pattern, how you respond to pressure and distance, what leads when you're under stress, identity, fear, or emotion, and then also why your productivity rhythm sustains or burns you out. Okay, so make sure you click the link in the bio to be able to take the test. It's going to, once you take the test, it's going to give you an executive summary of all those things I just talked about. Now if you want to go deeper and find out more about this and how to fix that, then there's a $10 price for you to get the full extended report. So you can go and look at it and get the executive summary and see things and be like, okay, this is what I need to work on. This is what I need to work on. This is what I need to work on. If you're a self-starter, you may not need the full report. But if you click on it, you're like, oh my God, I think I need this full report because I didn't realize this was so deep. Click the link and make sure that you go ahead and you get it. It is scroll. Let me see. You can go to a website to get it actually. It is, because I don't want to say it wrong again because I be playing. It's IAMELLESRVS.com. But you also click the link in the bio to get access, okay? It is to take the diagnostic. It is IAMELLESRVS, okay? How do we stop overprotecting our children? Deal with your fear. Address your fears. That's the root of it. Thank you, Lovey. The root of overprotection is fear. Deal with your fear. Deal with your fear, deal with your fear, deal with your fear. And if you feel like you cannot deal with your fear, then you probably should schedule a session so we can get down to the real root of their fear. Because that's what I supported the client with the other day. So you can click the link in the bio to get access to a session. It's $197. And you can get that with Recliner Firm and Afterpay, or come into the lab for $888 and you can get that with Recliner Firm and Afterpay as well. Okay. How do you completely block someone who betrayed you but still wants access? We don't care what they want. Who cares what they want? What do we mean? We just block them. Once you do something to me, and I think that the bottom line is, it's your standard. My standard is, if you're disloyal to me and you do this, and it doesn't matter if they're in the same circles. I could see somebody and not acknowledge their existence and not give them access to me. That's just me though. I can do that. I can be in a space with somebody and I don't acknowledge them. Just because they come and say hello to me, I'm not required to say hello back. Just because they try to have small talk with me does not mean I have to stand there and talk to them. I don't care how it's going to make me look in the eyes of other people who don't know what's going on. I don't care how it's going to make me look in the eyes of this individual who betrayed me. The consequence is you don't get access. You don't get access. Period. So just block them out. Because if it's your standard, when it comes to my standards, there's no emotion behind it. So if my standard is, if you do XYZ and you do XYZ, I don't care how much I love you, you violated my standard, so it doesn't matter. Because my love apparently didn't matter when you did what you did. So my love doesn't matter now. So I'm not participating in the experience anymore. Period. I'm very strict about that. I was friends with somebody for 2 years, and that person did something to me that I felt was vile, and I just simply said, when I found out, I said, I don't fool with you. That was it. And the person was like, no, you're being emotional, because I said I don't fool with you, and I hung up. Like, for me, it was nothing else to talk about. The person called back and was like, no, you're being emotional because you hung up. I said, no, I'm actually not being emotional because I hung up. I'm actually hanging up because I don't have anything else to say. We had a conversation about this. I explained that if you did this, I was not going to fool with you. I hate that you believed that I wasn't telling the truth, considering the fact that I always keep it real like this. So I'm not really sure why you thought I would be playing. So I'm going to get off the phone now. And I got off the phone. And that person is still trying to get access to me. First they kept trying to play, then they eventually was like, I'm sorry, I was this. I don't care about that. I don't care about apologies when you meant to do something. You meant to do what you did. I need you to sit in that. People don't like sitting in that. See, this is why I don't be accepting apologies. Because people want you to pacify them because they want to feel better, you know, by knowing, oh my God, I got to get this off me. Please accept my apology. I don't. I can forgive you and not accept your apology and still dismiss you at the same time. And I'm still going to be good. So all of this is rooted back to my standard. And my standard, one of my standards is loyalty if you're going to be in my space. So if you are disloyal, it's okay. You just can't be here. Just go back over there. My problem is that it triggers me. I lost something big due to betrayal. I wish it was that simple. I think that's the thing. So then you have to deal with your trigger. Triggers, and like I tell my clients, emotions and triggers are cues and clues. So that means you need to investigate that to get down to the real root issue of that. The real deep issue of that. Okay? All right, y'all. I'm going to get off here. I hope y'all have an amazing, amazing, amazing weekend. Make sure you click the link in the bio to book your session for $197. If you need a session or come into the lab, we have 4 more spots for the lab. Available if you're trying to come in. Really excited about what we're going to be getting into on the 19th. So yeah. And I don't know if Kay is still on here. I just got your email. I'm gonna respond to you and give you another time. We're gonna try to figure out another time. So we'll get that squared away and situated. Okay. All right, y'all. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing weekend. Happy Feminine Friday again. Thank y'all. We got to 50,000. This is going to go up on YouTube.